A recurring problem that I have noticed in conversations surrounding Final Fantasy XIV experience is whether the game actually gets better with time or not. See, typically this conversation will go like this. Someone tries the game after hearing positive things about it. They create a character, play for few levels and do not like it. At least not as much as they expected they would. They wonder, is that it? Why were people praising this game so much? And so they jump on Reddit or YouTube to ask if they should continue playing. Should they expect to like the game more later on or drop the title now? Inevitably, someone will reply to this topic and say something along the lines of, yes, just slog through the trial phase of the game, it gets better with time. And to that, someone else will reply, what the fuck are you talking about? The game is not getting better later on. And then the debate begins. So, who is right? Well, I think both and none at the same time, actually. The answer to this question is more nuanced and subtle than you may think. Whether a person will enjoy Final Fantasy XIV later on depends on what do they like and dislike in the game right now. Do they like the general feeling of the fight and just miss more skills to use? Or perhaps they can't be bothered with questing and want to get to the endgame instead? These are important questions that may save you 200 hours of your life. And I hope to help you answer them in this video. I would like to help you understand what will change and what will not. This should, in turn, help you judge if you should continue playing the game based on your initial experiences. First, let's talk about the combat. The flow of action will speed up as you level. You will get more skills and the cooldown between the skills will shorten as well. You know, whenever I get synced to early dungeons, I feel the pain that low-level players feel. Battle at the early levels is a boring experience. It's no fun to press like 2 buttons for half an hour, especially when you are a more experienced and capable player who can keep track and press few more buttons. So this aspect will definitely get better when you level up. Just look at this comparison between one of the first dungeons in the game. And a dungeon gameplay for the same class on level 70, which is the end of the second game expansion, and there is more skills to come. The style of combat gameplay, however, will remain as it is. So don't expect for this top target title to magically shift towards action style gameplay. This is simply not going to happen. Now let's talk about the second topic, which is the most divisive among Final Fantasy XIV player base, the main scenario. I think we have to split this topic into 2 smaller categories, gameplay loop and the story. This is because one of them gets better, while the other remains unchanged throughout the game's journey. Did you guess which is which? First, the gameplay loop. I am sorry to report that, but if you do not enjoy gameplay loop of main scenario from the beginning, then you're not going to like it at 60th or 80th level. The way the main storyline flows remained unchanged throughout the expansions. There's going to be a lot of running and riding in this game. You will go back and forth to various NPCs, complete frequent fetch quests. There's tons of dialogues in this game. And most of it is not voice acted, and that does not improve much in expansions. You will have long periods of slow-paced gameplay, sometimes interrupted with mandatory instanced content to progress the story. And if you are not enjoying the ratio of questing and fighting at the early levels of Final Fantasy XIV, then I am sorry to report, friend, you're not going to like this later on either. This is especially the case for those of you who can't wait to get to the endgame. You are like 200 hours away from endgame, buddy. Final Fantasy XIV is not a game where you can breeze through leveling process to get to raiding. I mean, technically you can, with paying for skipping to the last expansion, but that's only temporary fix. When new expansion comes out, you will have to level and quest again. Why do that when you can play another game where you actually enjoy gameplay loop? Second, the story. From what I remember, the game's story starts off rather slowly in the first 50 levels or so, and from what I managed to follow with the game's story, it improved in expansions, with Stormblood being an exception since I did not like it at all. Each expansion of the game starts slowly, building the narrative, setting up the scene for characters and tries to help player understand the world and conflict that they are dealing with. Then, it slowly increases the tempo and magnitude of events up until big climax. That's how I remember the story vibe of Final Fantasy XIV experience over the years at least. Personally, I have problems following the story in this game because I dislike the presentation side of it, but from what I had managed to read and watch, the story is quite good, especially in Heavensward and Shadowbringers. So to conclude, if you feel like you dislike the questing style in this game and overall loop, you are probably better off dropping the game right now. However, if you like the loop but wish the story was more epic, then hang on tight, the game gets there eventually. If you like the combat style but wish it was faster and more engaging, then stick around and your prayers will be answered. I hope this video helped you to understand what you should expect to change in the game and what not.